I want to give my take and just kind of answer this question of can you have wealth as a Christian? And the truth is you can. You can, and there's many people in the Bible who were righteous and very wealthy. There's nothing wrong with being wealthy, especially if God gave it to you. Now, Proverbs 21:6, a fortune made by a lying tongue is a fleeting vapor and a deadly snare. See, if you lied to get this money and you always attribute that to yourself, I mean, even Deuteronomy 8:11-20 tells us that we shouldn't think this is the work of our hands, but of God's. And so if you're constantly thinking that this is yours and you get it out of lying and you get it out of cheating people, it's not going to be a good wealth. There's a difference in a good wealth and a bad wealth. I'm going to give a couple wealthy, righteous people in the Bible just to explain that not everyone in the Bible was poor. There were people who could be trusted with wealth in order to bless others. And also, not like, yes, they can have nice things, but everyone else around them better have nice things too. There's nothing wrong with being wealthy, and God isn't just looking to hand out wealth like hotcakes, like Oprah. You get a business, you get a house. God is looking for someone to trust with wealth, not just hand it out for free. And so, a couple wealthy, righteous people: Job, Solomon, Abraham, Boaz, Joseph of Arimathea, who Joseph of Arimathea gave Jesus the tomb. He took him from the cross and he gave him the tomb. Lydia, a wealthy businesswoman who sold purple cloth. Boaz married Ruth and he's an Old Testament character. Abraham, Solomon, Job, I think both of those are all pretty self-explanatory. But it's very important. The difference between good wealth and bad wealth is what do you do with it? You see, as mentioned, there's nothing wrong with having nice things, but there is a problem when it's all for your own selfish gain. When Lazarus and the rich man, you see, Lazarus was outside of the rich man's gate, poor, hungry, and Lazarus never helped, or the rich man never helped Lazarus. And that's the problem. If you can be, and I heard this analogy, I think it's great. If God can see that you're going to be a tap who, when the water is turned on, you now have water, that you also give water to other people, that you also give blessings to other people, God is going to want to give you more. But if you're seen as someone who can't even be trusted with, pennies, you're not even someone who is willing to share when you even have little, you're not going to be someone who is going to be trusted. As mentioned earlier, God is looking for someone to trust. You're not going to be trusted in order to have more because he knows even then you're not going to give anyone. So it's better to just give it to someone who will give it to other people. And I know you may be asking, well, why are there all these, gazillionaires who don't give it to anyone? Well, there's always the unrighteous rich people. But as a Christian, you can be wealthy. You can be wealthy. You can have a business. You can work hard. You can turn, your one talent into two, or your five into five, or your five into 10, or your three into six. You can turn your talents into more, so that you can, you can do good with having little, so then you can have the true riches in heaven. But you have to more so focus on the blessing others instead of it all just being for your own selfish gain. Instead of $1 billion sitting in your account just to say you could do it. That's not the point of God giving you wealth, because God explains clearly that there's a true wealth that none of us can comprehend. The billionaires here on earth are going to be very fractional and very minuscule and compared to what God says he will entrust those who he trusts in heaven. There's going to be a lot more in heaven. And so it's important to not be owned by these things. A really clear distinction in a good Christian with money and a bad Christian with money, or bad wealth for a Christian and good wealth for a Christian, is the way it affects them. If money owns you, that's a big problem. You can't serve money and God. And having a lot of money doesn't mean you serve money. I just want to be clear. Having a lot of money does not mean you serve money. And so it's important that you just don't be owned by it. There's zero benefit to being owned by money. If your cash collected or your amount in your bank account affects the way you are, happiness-wise, that's kind of a problem. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're someone who's struggling, you are literally living paycheck to paycheck, you should still trust in God. God clearly explains to us that your body is more than clothes. Your body is more than food. It's more there's more to life than the money you have, and it's important that you don't worry. It's explained clearly. Hey, don't worry about what you'll eat, about what you'll drink. Don't worry about that. The roses that sit over there are, beautifully dressed, but tomorrow they will be thrown into the oven. Does God not love you more than the roses over there? And so it's important that you don't be owned by them, and you don't serve them. But being wealthy does not mean you serve money. You can use money to serve other people. Most businesses, at the end of the day, service businesses, serve people. You serve people, and if you can be a good servant leader of your company that serves people, that's good. There's nothing wrong with that, especially if, you do something that benefits other people's lives. There's nothing wrong with being paid for that. And there's no point in just locking yourself into a company if you think that God is calling you to run a business. And so I just want to make this point. Hey, there's nothing wrong with having wealth as a Christian. It's important on what you do with it, how this wealth affects you, and where it takes you. Because if it's all selfish wealth, that I just want my Ferrari, and I want to have my Rolls Royce, and anyone else who needs money, any homeless people, any children without, orphans, none for them. I want it. That's bad wealth. And there's unfortunately a lot of people who even with little won't do that. Even with little, they will hold themselves back from donating because they would rather have it. And that's the difference between God trusting you with money and God not trusting you with money. Because as mentioned, God is not looking for just someone to hand out $1 billion to. He's looking for someone to trust with money. And so if you're someone with little and you still don't give, God's not going to give you a lot and then expect anything from you. So he's not going to give you more because you're not even going to give anything away. It's important that with little, you still give, because God will then trust you when He gives you a lot, that you will still give too. And I think that's just the basis of this video. And I hope you got some information out of this and it kind of made a little bit more sense. Of course, if you have any comments, I'm sure plenty of people drop comments. Just drop a comment and I'll respond.